What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Big E Show. I'm your host, Eric Mika, joined by my co-host today, Josh Nielsen. And most importantly, today our guest we're super excited to announce is Sam Watson, a bronze medal winner from these 2024 Paris Olympics in speed climbing. He's originally from Texas, but he's living now in Utah, going to University of Utah. He's a freshman there. World medalist in a couple world championships, I think 3.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Pan American Games, you won a gold, and then, like I said, a bronze medal winner in the Paris Olympics. I was hoping you'd bring the medal because I was going to.
Yeah, I was so ready to have it, and then I just totally forgot on the way over here.
You're good.
I'm always forgetting my Olympic medals. Dude. Everywhere I go, I never take it anywhere.
I know. I don't even. I
got in the Uber and I was considering 10 minutes in, oh, should I go back and get this medal? And I think the Uber driver didn't believe me that I was he thought I was lying, that I was I have an Olympic medal, I'm an Olympic medalist. And I'm like, dude,
he's yeah, me too. Sure you do.
He was like that, and I was like, dude, do I make this Uber driver go back just to prove to him
Prove
that
it.
I'm in fact a
Just you got to
medalist?
send him a picture when you get home.
Wait, this is a real thing. For some reason I thought when you said that you were saying you thought this is how he was going to react, but that actually happened.
Yeah, no, that it genuinely did happen.
He was like, "Yeah, right, bro."
We're in the car. I mean, kind of.
Hey, to be fair, it's not a thing happens to him every day.
I mean,
That's
I'm sure
true.
he could Google it, but I was just I actually don't think I ever told him my first and last name. So I
Yeah.
think this dude thought I was just crazy.
Well, and
I'm gonna start
I
telling
sent
other
the Uber, so he's gonna look up my name.
He's gonna look up your name.
He's like,
This guy's huge.
This guy hasn't won shit.
hey, I do think considering the week that it is and the fact that
Yeah,
we got Sam here
yeah.
wearing some
good
red,
juxtaposition right here.
not just blue, but we
Oh,
got
yeah.
the wooden grill plug.
I
Brigham Young. It is the week of the Holy War.
The Holy War. I actually don't.
Are we
own,
invested?
I don't own any University of Utah merch. I would have worn it if I did.
good.
That's the
Good.
next best thing we could have had then.
This is almost.
I'm just a neutral.
This
So
isn't intentional.
We can get you some.
A BYU merch.
No, Utah merch.
Okay.
But we'll get you both. and then you
Yeah.
can decide for yourself after this
Yeah.
weekend. Yeah,
But-
that game will be. Do you feel like are you bought into that rivalry at all? Do you feel like, yes, I'm a Utah man. This is.
I'm honestly
some school
excited.
pride.
This is my first Holy War.
Yeah.
I've known about it for years as a college football fan,
Sure.
but I've never actually been to it. So I'm not gonna be there for the game, but I'm definitely excited. I'm gonna be rooting for the U. I think it'll be probably pretty close.
Yeah,
both teams are pretty good.
Yeah, I've talked to enough guys that have been in that game. I played in that game. For basketball.
Yeah, just to be clear.
Just to be clear, I'm not tough enough for football. That's been established on the show before, but it's one of those things you hear guys say this, and it's 100% the truth. No matter where the teams are in rivalries like this, you just throw you throw the record out, you throw the season that everyone's having, the injuries, all these things that you mark on pros and cons typically going into a game. It's just doesn't matter.
And
The emotions are so high, anything can happen.
Yeah, especially the fact that Utah's record is not 8-0 like BYU's.
Right.
Even more, it's if we're gonna get one thing this year, dude, we take the whole
100%. I mean, this will come out a couple weeks after the game happens, so we'll see what happens. but-
Congratulations to the team that won.
Yeah, congrats to BYU. But I have a good friend who has a good friend that's a linebacker at the U, and so my friend was poking around, how do you feel? And of course he feels great. He's like, we're dangerous right now. We're backed into a corner. We're 4-4. We have literally nothing to lose. This is now our Super Bowl, so I wouldn't be surprised if they play really, really well. But
It'll be a game.
That'll be fun.
It almost always is a great game.
Yeah.
I'm way excited.
Yeah. I forgot to leave out in your intro. The very last bullet point is you are a world record holder.
I do, in fact, have the world record.
That's not a simple thing to leave behind.
I feel fast sitting next to him, dude.
Yeah.
I feel fast.
So I get the title of the fastest climber in the world and the fastest Olympian in history, as my sport is the shortest sport.
Yeah.
So 4.74 is the fastest time anyone's ever run at the Olympics.
It's crazy. And those of you that are a fan of Sam and of speed climbing and are familiar with his story, tough that you got eliminated in the semis and then you set the world record. It's that's the hard part of the sport, right? Is that, you have to do it every single time. But I don't know. At least me, when I was reading up on it, I was like, how does that doesn't compute, right? Why is the bronze going to the guy with the fastest time? But it's because it's tournament style, right?
It's tournament style, and it's such a high margin of error sport or low margin of error sport where you're moving so fast that it's so easy just to miss a certain hold.
Yeah.
And then you lose a little bit of time, and then everyone at the top of the Olympics is so elite that you don't
Right.
have any wiggle room. It's honestly a bit like golf, I would say,
Yeah.
where you kind of have to break it down into this series or tour where you have 6 or 7 events, or for climbing that's what it is for our World Cup circuit, where you gain points and then winning the series is the goal. But obviously the Olympics is just like everyone's watching you at this time, and
Right.
it's you got to do what you got to do at that point.
How long is that? How long? This is actually good. We're jumping ahead, but I did want to know how long is that tour? Like it's 6 or 7 events.
To
Like is that
qualify for the
is that all 4 years, or is that every year? Like how many events did you have to do and go win? How many points did you have to acquire
What's the
before you
process
qualified?
like
For
getting
qualifying.
to the actual thing? Yeah.
So I think my qualifying process started in 2022 with the World Cup series.
So you're
We had-
16 at the time.
I'm 16 at the time, right?
Wild.
I had just actually qualified for the national team, just like barely. We have 2 in order to qualify for the U.S. team. We have 2 events. We have our U.S. nationals and then U.S. team trials. And for the nationals, I didn't do very well, and then I just happened to win the team trial event. Like I got kind of lucky in the knockout,
Mhm.
and so I qualified for this team, and I go to all these events, and I just kept getting better and better over season because I was still quite young and I was just trying to improve. And then I also, again, a little bit of luck involved, won my first World Cup in September of that year. And then so that allowed me to qualify for both the World Championship next year and the Pan American Games
Gotcha.
in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And then the qualifying process, there's multiple different pathways, but the way I got my ticket was winning the Pan American Games in Santiago in 2023.
Yeah.
Which allowed me to get an Olympic ticket.
So how many times are you climbing? So like at the Pan American Games, at one of these singular events, how many times are you like climbing? Like it's not just one time and they take the best time, right?
Yeah.
Is it tournament style? Like how many times are you going head to head against somebody?
So 2 qualifying laps and then 4 finals laps.
Okay.
So bracket of 16
Wow.
and then single elimination.
And Josh and I were talking, like this is, we feel like we know a little bit more than the average person about climbing just because you've climbed, our wives are into it, not necessarily speed climbing, but just under that umbrella. But we don't know a ton about this space. So help us understand, help those listening understand, like, is it set the same every single time? Like, are the factors on the wall, like, identical everywhere you go? Like,
Do you
our
know
assumption
ahead of
was
time
yes,
the
but
course, I'm just wondering how
we have
that
no idea how
changes.
that works.
Yeah, so the course is the same every time. It's homologated so that there's a world record every time. So
Yeah,
because you have
right.
to set that.
Yeah.
And then there's a bit of factors depending on where you're going. Kind of just like basketball, where you have those balls that are kind of a little bit less traction,
Right.
or the hoop is a chain hoop versus a net,
Right.
or something like that. But it's generally about the same every time.
Yeah. Or like for
And
Josh,
then-
it feels like a 12-foot hoop.
Yeah.
Yeah. 360.
And then for the most elite events where there's a lot of money involved, it's usually a perfect kind of worn-in ball with a great court,
Sure.
kind of thing. And then I'm sure playing in an arena versus playing like at a practice facility
Yeah.
is a bit different. Maybe
Yeah.
proprioception wise, kind of that thing with a crowd behind you.
Yeah.
Even though the wall is the same as in practice as it is at every competition, it's there are factors that do affect you.
Yeah.
And that's year after year. It's like what they did in 2 Olympics ago is the same route, same holds. They're saying that is what doesn't change?
Yeah. So this is our second Olympics, but the first Olympics that speed climbing is its own medal. In 2020 in Tokyo, the climbing for boulder, lead, and speed were combined as to one, and then this time they split off speed climbing
Oh,
to be
that's
its
cool.
own medal. So this is technically our first Olympics.
Hmm.
But we're looking at potentially getting other disciplines, and one of which would be a relay, and maybe another which
that'd
would
be
be
cool.
a 4-lane event where you have 4 people racing at the same time.
Dang.
And you take a faster time, which I'm a big proponent of because it means I can win more medals.
Right.
So swimmers can get
Yeah.
go to the
Yeah.
Olympics, get 4 or 5
It
medals,
is kind
and
of
Yeah.
crazy.
I'm
depending on the
I'm
sport, yeah.
fighting for my life for a single one. But I'm talking about in the very future. So definitely some growth for the sport. But to answer your question, yeah, the course is the same every time in practice, but it's just like many other sports where it does change.
Yeah. I mean, very much in the future, but you did get your first round when you're 18, right? I know a lot of it depends. You still have to go qualify, right? Like winning a bronze this time around doesn't do you any good. You have to go do it again, but you're in a good position to do so, right? You know what it takes. So you could argue like, hey, I have a couple more cycles to go win some medals. I mean, what's the oldest climber that's going? You're doing it at 18, so the assumption is 22. You go do it again. 26, you go do it again. Can you do it again at 30? Like how old? What's that window like for climbers?
Yeah, so I generally say the oldest climber that competed in Paris was 38, and he made finals.
Oh, so you got
So you had a
five. You got 5 cycles, my friend.
You had a 20-year difference between me and him, who made the final, and then at that point you have speed climbing is mostly accelerative, and you don't involve hitting max speed. So the studying of like track and field, your acceleration doesn't really dip as much, but your max speed does.
Right.
So I mean, I wouldn't really want to be competing in the sport like this, where I'm like kind of older, like washed up role player phase. You know what I mean? Where like you're, that's how I'm like.
Why did you look at him like that when you said that?
No. Maybe like.
Well, you must have read up on my career as well.
Trying to think like an NBA player.
Like a Udonis Haslem.
Udonis Haslem.
Yep.
Maybe like I would say Chris Paul, but he's doing good this season.
Yeah.
That was my comparison, but
he's kind of a vampire.
Yeah, he's crazy, and then like LeBron's still doing it. So maybe like I would only really want to go if I'm being LeBron,
sure,
versus being Udonis Haslem,
yeah,
because there's not much. Especially like
which setting the world record your first time at 18 and getting bronze. I mean,
yeah,
maybe he's the LeBron.
Maybe more of a LeBron route.
Maybe more. Yeah. If that is what I'm allowed to do, and then my body allows for it, and I have the potential, then I'm totally doing it. But I think my current plan is maybe 3 more cycles, and then like ending it around 30 would
That's
be
pretty cool.
Well, it seems like you have some time to figure it out too.
Yeah, for sure. And then I mean. With how young the sport is, I'm open to the possibility. Hope not, but if there's just some crazy kid out of like Jamaica who can just absolutely obliterate me, is a potential as well.
Does hearing that like get you excited a little bit? You're like, oh, dude, there's this kid from Jamaica who's unbelievable. Is it like, what does it feel like? Because it's like, are you so competitive? Like, dude, I want to go beat that kid, or is it like, dude, someone might take this?
In a way, yes. In a way, I'm sure you played against Wembanyama. So, like, knowing it's kind of like that, where it's like you see this person who's just a freak of nature. It's like, I can't.
A great description.
I mean, I can't.
Really.
Do you have motivation when playing against him of, I'm going to get better to get to 7'4" with a 8-foot wingspan?
Right.
Like, maybe it's that kind of motivation.
Who's just wet from half court.
He's literally just, he is built for basketball. It's like when you can, it's my player to the max. Where you're like, look at my freaky player that I made.
Shooting.
His neck is like 9 feet long, but it's like he can dunk from half court. Yeah.
So maybe like that's the kind of thing. But if it's closer in motivation, where he's like, he's gunning after me and from that top position, maybe that's how it works.
Yeah.
But at the same point, there could be someone who just has insane genetics, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, I guess how would you break it down? There's like a build, like we were talking earlier. Eric's hands, like they won't fit on the holds.
Yeah.
He's so tall and slow.
Yep.
In that, going up.
Dumb, maybe a little dumb too.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not your fault. Yeah. But like, yeah, what would you say like relative to just like your build, your body, how you can move, and then there's like the technical skill, understanding, execution. Like, what's the breakdown in the sport, and what's it like for you?
So there's different factors that make different speed climbers at the top good. So I'd say actually the gene pool for speed climbing is closer to maybe like badminton or table tennis, where you have these East Asian and Southeast Asian climbers who are really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at it, of the top 10 currently in cumulative world rank, there's 2 Europeans, or 2 people of European descent, myself and an Italian, and then 8 South and East Asian climbers. So typically, I'm also like by far the tallest, and I'm 5'11".
Really?
So
what would you say? They're mostly like 5'7".
I would say 5'6", 5'7" is probably the range of an elite speed climber.
Yeah, not the sport.
So, and I mean, someday technique-wise, if there's like a new technique on the route that someone could get that requires you to be 6'4", then
or 7'5",
or 7'5".
Could you imagine Wemby just crawling up that wall?
I literally can't.
I tried. I had my agent reach out to Spurs team to see if they would get him to speed climb with me. I have not gotten a response, but I hope I did. Yeah.
Can we bet on it?
That's awesome. Hey, let's bet your contract, Wemby, on this race.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. So I was doing a challenge. So in bouldering, what's called a dyno, where you have a hold.
Yeah, you launch yourself.
And you launch yourself as fast as possible.
There you go. Come on, let's go.
Right.
We know.
There you go. You got the climber lingo on lock.
There you go. Thank
So-
you, Gabby.
I had a theory. I was like, I think I could jump higher, just pure vertical, than any other climber in the world, right?
Okay.
And so I was like, I want to do a 10-foot dyno.
That would
And
be
so
crazy.
I started off at 3 meters. So I got 3 meters, and I got to like 9 foot, 9 foot 10 inches.
Mhm.
I would say.
Can you dunk?
I can dunk.
But you're talking just standing still, like because
No, you're launching yourself off a rock
Are you
or off
saying
a hold.
from
So
starting position or mid route?
okay, so the setup was, it was a ladder, so just a big hold, a wooden rung basically.
Okay.
Then you jump to another one, and then you jump 10 feet.
Wow.
So imagine like a basketball hoop from the ground, but your hands are starting at the ground, and then you jump.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was wondering, like, I don't think any other climber could do it, but if you took like a Victor Wembanyama who's that tall, and could you get it?
Oh, yeah.
If you're that big and just can't climb.
The problem though is, at least for him, is he's so like all his size is long. Dude, the guy is not crazy strong. I mean, that was one of the biggest things against him. But I don't know if he could pull himself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
feel like relative to his size, though, he is strong. Like, he's not strong compared to me or compared to like
That's
some
right.
bull, some like LeBron, some
Yeah.
bull in the NBA. But like,
Yeah, but he
He-
also
he
weighs
is-
300 and something pounds. Like you
who?
know,
Wembanyama?
What
No, he
is he?
doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
What is
He's
weigh?
like, I think he
maybe
was like
250?
215 when he got in the league.
really?
So maybe he's like 240 now,
crap.
235.
Yeah.
So I actually think he is strong, like relative to his weight. Like, to me, part of measuring that would be like, how many pull-ups can he do? Like, is he strong enough to?
Yeah,
to,
but can he like pull himself to above? That's
I
the
bet he
that's
could.
the-
If
I
you
bet
have
he
a
could.
Do you have
His
the ability
standing-
to put a visual on the podcast? Because
Yeah,
For sure.
I could put the video of,
No, 100%.
of
Yeah.
what I did on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And it's just a step-up dyno. So you have your hands here, then you move your foot to where your hands were.
Yep.
And it's a big jump. So yeah, I don't know if someone that lanky could make that motion, or if you could drive your hip up. Like I would be really, really curious to see.
I just
Yeah.
think he's such a freak. I think he could do it because if you watch like his warm up routine and like
Yeah.
what
he does move
he can
like
do
nobody
all,
else
and he
that's that
does all these
size.
movements that like a couple years ago everyone would have been like, what is he doing? Now it's like every NBA team like and strength coaches kind of following those regimens before the
Yeah,
game, like
yeah.
warming up muscles and fine tuning things that normally you wouldn't think of. So I don't know. He might be a bad example, also because his standing reach is like over 10 feet. So but it would be interesting.
So yeah, if he could get his hand, or if he could get his foot on the first one, I mean,
Yeah.
he could get it.
Yeah.
But is that the really
It's
question?
8 feet high. The first round.
If like if he could actually stand,
Yeah.
and pull himself that high.
That's-
So Victor Wembanyama, if you're watching this, come try my challenge.
Victor,
He's
well,
a big fan.
We got some
Yeah,
buddies on the Spurs, so maybe we could get this to him.
You could try to-
So to answer your question, I mean, for you, would you say like how much does your build and that, or is it more a technical practice?
Like what are his advantages, Mike? Like,
for him?
yeah. What are your advantages?
So to go really, really in depth. So since the route is the same and it's not just a straight like ladder or track,
Mhm.
it's like the holds are different places, right? So there's actually different places that I feel like I physically can't go faster than say a 5'6" Indonesian.
Yeah.
But at the top of the route, there's actually a specific move that I do that requires a bit more height and a bit more strength that I can do faster than anyone else in the world. But I lose a bit of speed in the middle of the route because I can't lift my hand as fast because it's just longer and there's larger distance to cover. And if that makes sense.
But
So
that's all
it's
baked
definitely-
into your strategy. Everything you're like, I might lose a little here, but this
Yeah,
is
you
my-
lose
yeah.
a little in the middle, and then you gain a little bit at the top if you're my height. But I am the only one that's above like 5'8" currently in the top
That's crazy.
10.
That is pretty.
Is there much like shift or change in your strategy, or is it like this route is set? I know what I need to do. Now I just improve upon it, or like is there ever a big enough pivot? Like, man, if I could actually do this and pull this off, I could shave off. Because now you're going after
Yeah,
fractions
how do you
of a
get
second.
better?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
do you beat the world record?
So when I first decided I could try to get gun for the world record, it was when I started doing that technique I just told you about at the very top.
Yeah.
And I think the world record at the time was 5.008 seconds.
Oh wow, you
And
smashed it.
I had
killed it, dude.
I had
Yeah.
with that new what's called beta climbing, which is where you use a different technique.
Yeah.
With the new one, I had a 503, right?
And this is when? How far before the Olympics?
This is in 2023, early 2023.
Okay, so a year before.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna gun for the world record. And then it was actually broken that year, just probably a month or two afterward. Vidrik hit the person who won gold in speed climbing. He hit 490, and that in April of that year. And then it took about an entire extra year, and then I broke it in April of this year for the first time. I ran 485 and 479 in the first day of the new series. The this year, and I had the new technique, and I was ironed out, and I had kind of gone through experiences that allowed me to get to that level performance-wise at a competition.
So I mean, it's kind of crazy. I wouldn't have expected that when someone like breaks a record, it's that dramatic. I mean, running and swimming, it's just like milliseconds. You know?
right.
That's by like a tenth of a second or more. Or, I mean, because the world record time was 4:74.
4:74, yeah.
4:74, and it's 49. Did some research, 49 feet in less than 5 seconds. 4 and 3/4. I mean, that's
It's how many
crazy,
me's?
dude.
How many me's? How many Wembies is that?
7, literally.
Yeah, 7.
Like almost maybe
around
a little bit less.
7, 6, and change.
Yeah. No, that's nuts. Well, since we're on the topic of training, like one of my questions, not knowing enough about the sport, is what is your training? Like, how much is it weights? How much is also the mental side of it, the strategy, like tuning your brain to like the competitions? Because obviously that's a big part of, tons of athletes nowadays are talking about the importance of that side to it. And because in my mind, I'm just like, does he just go to that 49-foot wall and just like, all right, I'm just gonna go do it again?
Real fast.
Or is there sport climbing involved? Is there weight training? Like what does
How do you
a
prep for
typical
that?
day or week or cycle look like for you?
Yeah, so we have pretty complicated mesocycles, but just to break it down, I do about 5 climbing sessions in the week and about 4 lifting sessions, and then every day there's some sort of prehab or like stuff to prevent injuries in some way or another. And a lot of it's been kind of as an athlete, you have a lot of these inputs and voices. So I mean, I have a climbing coach, I have an S&C coach, I have a trainer and a nutritionist, and people like that you'll have to gain their input from, but you also have to pick and choose what to do from them, because they give you kind of stuff where your trainer wants you to be,
Contradict a little or
less,
something,
not like less load, and your climbing coach or your basketball coach wants you to be in the gym every day working on technique, and then your S&C coach wants you to be weightlifting and fatigued and sore every day.
Right.
So as your athlete, it's kind of, you have to choose what to do from all of that input. So for me, I think that kind of cycle where it's about 5 climbing sessions and 4 weight sessions, and then every day as much prehab as I generally can.
And that's pretty consistent from right now until the next competition.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, sometimes you have to take breaks and take vacations and all that, but generally that's about what I do when I'm training pretty hard. And then valuing sleep and nutrition and all that. You definitely never clock out as an athlete. I'm sure you know.
Yeah. And obviously it's an individual
He doesn't,
sport.
but I do, yeah.
It's an individual sport, but, I mean, you have your own team. Do you work with other, climbers, or, do you guys work together, or is it really just you by yourself?
So I'd say climbing has a very uniquely friendly community. I think of any Olympic sport, I'll make the judgment that we have the best community in terms of camaraderie and friendliness and all that. Because as such a young sport, I think at the end of the day, almost every athlete wants to see the sport advance and wants to see us get more, global attention and money and all those things. And at the very high level, you have a lot of these people who success to the point in which they have it as a full-time job. I think once you reach that level, respect kind of emerges more, because you're not really fighting for jobs essentially. When you lose the race, you're not going to starve. If that makes more sense. And so when you reach that level, I think there's a bit more of respect and just generally trying to want to advance. But obviously, it's a competitive nature, and that's how it works. But I've spent a lot of time. Just last month, I was with the Indonesian team, and I was training with them in Jakarta. And I've tried to establish good connections with all these other teams around the world, because I really do want to just see them succeed, because I think for such a young sport and being such a key kind of part of the main, I guess, English-speaking ambassador for the sport, to help it grow. Totally. And so that's my priority over just being a competitor, I would say.
So it's funny you mentioned, all the other countries and the teams and stuff. I saw this thing that said you were trying to get a selfie with somebody from every country. Did you get it?
So I set kind of a new goal where, I posted my first video of doing that, where I got maybe 30 selfies at the Olympics. So I was trying to get every delegation. And then I got up to maybe I think I have 120 out of the 200.
That's a lot.
But I stopped posting them because I was kind of worried about the privacy of the people involved.
Right.
Because not all of them spoke English, and I even got a North Korean.
Yeah, it is the Olympics. Yeah.
I was kind of worried that posting that a picture of me smiling next to this North Korean, it was so funny. It was just this. I was and the North Korean was just Like he like.
So
he was all just
there's
Why
not
was
like
he so mad?
I'm like, are you going? Hey, can we take a selfie? I'm doing this thing, or you're just like walking up to people. And so
I did ask.
the ones that don't speak English though, they're just kind of like they know what a selfie is.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I just like held up my phone with the camera, and then they like thumbs up.
Yeah.
And I never got rejected by anyone.
Yeah.
Which
Well, you
was
got the
kinda cool.
medal on. I mean, you know.
But like, yeah, I think with like some of them, I was
Do
like,
you know
kinda,
who I am?
I was kind of. I mean, they're Olympic medalists too, for all you know. So
Right,
right. You're not special over there. But I think with some of them, I was like, I don't really know if this is the best thing to post, and then
Right.
there's some like kind of political stuff with a lot of these countries.
Yeah.
But I set my goal of like, all right, I have a tick list of like every country in the world with I've taken this over with these people, and then I want to try and complete that, like just not at the Olympics, but just if I find a person from
At
this one country.
competitions,
That
yeah.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. And then I'm gonna make like a little board out of it. I think
Yeah.
of
That's
like
cool.
I have a selfie with every person, every country in the world.
Yeah.
Which would be a cool little project
That's
to work
awesome.
And I mean, you're traveling constantly. Where are you off to? I mean, we recorded today instead of later this week because
Yeah.
you're going somewhere. I mean, is this for training? Is this competition? Is it a little bit of both usually? I mean, you've been all over the place.
Yeah, so I have a competition in Saudi Arabia
Okay.
in about 4 days, maybe.
Do you have a selfie with a
And-
Saudi Arabian?
I do.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. So why
is
even
it up
go?
like a sand dune? It's just like.
So
who
it
can get
actually
with
is.
that?
So
I told you it would be.
it is in the middle of the desert. So the Saudis are working on their Neom project, which is just like they're building a massive city in the middle of the desert to try.
Is that the one that's just like
The wall
super?
thing?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
wall.
So this is a promotional
you're
event. for
you're
that.
climbing the whole
Hey,
thing.
that's a
Um,
great ass promotional event.
Yeah,
Climb the.
that's-
So they're hosting like a climbing competition in the middle of the desert, basically. They
Dang.
set us up in these tents, and it's like 2-hour bus ride away from the nearest airport, and it's like a crazy experience. I went last year, so
Wow,
I'm going.
Wow.
I'm going again this year.
that's
That
cool.
is amazing.
And is this in conjunction at all with USA Climbing? Is this just you as an individual pro, or how does that like? Is there prize money? Is this qualification? Like, how does that all work? both?
Yeah, this is an open event where you're just generally like most comps
To register.
for there's a 3-on-3 basketball if you want to. I think there's a
Hey,
maybe
we got it.
Yeah,
We got it.
Yeah.
yeah, there's 3-on-3 basketball.
I
think
got it.
Super triathlon.
What is a super triathlon?
I don't know. It's like a
It's where you climb, play basketball, and
I
then-
would love to do that.
Shoot guns. Yeah.
Yeah, what is your? I mean, I know you grew up a Spurs fan. We've talked about Wemby and Ginobili a little bit. So, what would your triathlon be? Climbing, basketball. You got a third
Just
in there.
his
Chess.
three favorite
Chess,
thing-
dude. I do
Chess.
chess. I would.
And I mean,
I'm actually not
you
that. I'm not that good at basketball. Like in terms of actually playing it. Like I can jump really high, but that's basically it.
but you could argue that you would dominate so badly in the first two that you don't. It doesn't even matter. Like who's left in those three. It's so niche.
My time.
Oh
It's
yeah.
so
Up the
specific.
wall, my time.
That's actually
27 seconds
Yeah,
to the halfway, then
right.
fell.
Yeah. So if you don't know, for climbing, that was actually how the first climbing event worked. It was combined, so boulder, lead, and speed. And so you had a lot of crossover of people who did bouldering and lead because of the more traditional.
It's all
forms
just
of
time,
climbing.
though. I'm assuming.
And then so bouldering is you have really hard
Ratings, right?
like climbs that
Yeah.
are 3 meters off the ground and no rope, and you
Right.
can do it over and over and over again, and you try to get to the top of these, right? And then lead is one route that's 15 meters or 50 feet high, and you try to get as high as possible on it, and it's really hard. And then speed climbing is trying to climb as fast as possible in a knockout format.
wow.
And so there's like when they announced that, because there's only one Olympic medal, there was like almost no crossover for people who would do speed climbing
Right.
to people who would do
it's a
bouldering and
whole
lead,
life. Yeah.
especially because of
They're
what I said.
so different, right?
Yeah, what I
It's
said
not
about the
even-
gene pool, bouldering and lead is a bit more European typically. Like I would say also the Japanese are really, really good at it. And then you have like originally the Eastern Bloc of like Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan is also quite good. And then Indonesia, China, who are really good at speed climbing. And you have almost no crossover of people who would do all three. And so you had this like weird scramble of over the course of about 2 years from 2018 to 2020 and then eventually 2021 of people trying to learn either speed climbers trying to learn
Yeah.
bouldering and lead or bouldering and lead climbers trying to learn speed.
Yeah.
And so it was just not a great first Olympics for climbing, but then Paris really showed out as you could see each
Yeah.
of the athletes show off their success.
That's
So
cool.
that I don't know if I was debating this when I was actually at the Olympics. Like, is there any Olympic sport that I probably couldn't get last at? And the answer was no. There was. I don't think.
You don't think there's not one other that
I
you
don't
would
think
get
so.
last at?
Basketball. I could be a bench warmer. I mean, the USA team. Like I could just like.
Yeah.
So now you're losing me. You're going. I wouldn't be able to keep up with anybody in any sport, but then you immediately jump to USA basketball and say,
No. I'm taking the.
You're like, I couldn't beat any, but I'd make the top 15 players in the world.
No. I'm just on the team. I'm on the team.
Oh yeah.
Like
okay,
I just
okay.
get the nod. Who was the coach?
You would
Kirk?
just love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
You'd love to
I
be
would
on the team.
take Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum role where I just play like 2 minutes. Actually, not even 2 minutes. I'm playing 0.
Well, sign me up for that too. Wouldn't I?
You know,
Yeah,
we
you get a gold
all
medal.
had the same amount of minutes and points as a couple of those guys in a couple of those games.
So like I wouldn't get last if I was on that
That's
USA
a great
basketball
point.
team.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, that makes more sense to me.
yeah.
I was jumping to
And
conclusions.
then I'm not qualifying.
Okay, if you-
yeah,
okay.
assuming you can be in any Olympic sport, you have a year to train. You don't have to worry about qualification, right? What sport are you choosing to not get last in?
I mean,
Probably swimming. I'm just kidding.
yeah, right.
There was a couple Instagram posts that were like that same hypothetical, and I would like troll in the comment section by saying speed climbing, and then people would look at my profile and be like, "You're an actual Olympian in the sport."
That's actually a great question. I mean, I want to say basketball because I've been with the men's national team, and I was not good enough, obviously. But
You don't have to qualify. You can just be on the team.
Yeah. I'd fit in there. But like, if we're going like anything else that's solo,
Like volleyball as a team.
Yeah, I guess
Maybe.
volleyball.
So?
Volleyball, I'd be okay
Oh,
if
yeah.
I trained for it.
Mm-hmm.
Josh might be, I don't know, rugby.
Nah, yeah, those guys are just different.
Let's go okay, this is what we're gonna do.
I would want it to
I
be
like
golf.
this thought
Wait,
exercise.
is golf even it's not
Non-team.
even-
Golf is in the Olympics.
yeah.
Non-team, individual. So okay, you're saying golf. You really think you wouldn't come in last?
No, I for sure would come in last.
Oh, you just
we-
enjoy it.
Yeah,
But
but
Well, that's not the
I'd be
question.
happy to come in last. Well, that's
Okay,
my, that's
all
my
right, that's
answer to
fine,
my
that's you.
question.
Okay,
I don't know. I
yours
think-
isn't climbing, and it's not a team sport. What would it be? Like your best shot at something.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I like win over pretty much every sport. I'm getting last in almost everything.
Yeah.
I think for other people could say speed climbing potentially because if someone false starts, it's just a disqualification. So you have like just a tiny like statistical chance that someone
Okay.
will false start out of the
Yeah.
first round and you won't get last because
I
they
could
will.
grease up the holds.
Man, for a year.
But even then, like you're really not doing yourself any favors. Like because even if I try to compete in lead in boulder, I'm getting last at the Olympics.
Really, which is kind of crazy considering.
Like
I mean, if that's true, you wouldn't stand a chance in the old format of how they had it with the 3.
maybe with the old format, I probably wouldn't get last as like the best speed climber in the world. But if I'm doing just the bouldering and lead current format,
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
I'm still
Yeah.
getting last on that for sure.
So what about if, let's just say, you could be like you could podium in whatever you wanted? What would you pick outside of any climbing thing?
If I'd want a podium in any other sport, just like the most. Maybe just like the most popular. If I'm taking track and field, 100-meter dash.
Yeah,
like,
100
I
meter.
mean,
That's what I was gonna
just
say.
as far as like money
Pretty
goes, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
money's great,
Um,
and like to say, I mean, you're saying this like I'm the fastest.
I'm the
at
fastest.
some-
Yeah.
Put me on whatever. I'm the fastest.
yeah, I'm the
Before-
fastest. But like, I'm the fastest human being. Like
Like running. Yeah, that would
that's
be
pretty nuts.
quite cool.
That's pretty cool.
And then there's some other really cool sports, like especially like maybe pole vault in track and field, really cool.
What other? Did you go to any? I'm sure you went to other events or whatever while you were there.
I actually did not, unfortunately.
really?
My event was so late.
Locked in. Okay.
My event was so late that I really couldn't see any other sports. So
Nothing.
It was really
And how long were you in Paris for?
I was there the whole time. So
Okay.
I went to the opening ceremony and the closing ceremony, but you don't get other athlete tickets until your event is over. So basically, I had the entire time.
Oh, that kind of sucks.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was really unfortunate.
So I just had someone that was, he's a BYU student, similar to yourself, still in college, but then went and won a medal. His name is Kenneth Rooks. He
I
won
met
the
him.
stu-
Yeah.
So
Steeplechase, right?
he talked about they had, the USA Sports had access to this practice facility that like no other teams or countries had. Like you had like the village and you had facilities there, but then like USA had gone out and set up like something separate where they had their own foods and their own training spaces. Like they went to give a little bit extra for these, athletes that we were sending over there. What was it like? You're there in the beginning all the way till the end. Your event isn't till the end. Like where'd you go? What were you doing? Like where were you training? Was it with other countries? Was it just with the USA? Were you staying in Paris, or was there places around that you had to go find to prepare for this? Like what was that like? You were just kind of waiting around.
So we actually went to Barcelona.
Oh wow.
The team for climbing decided it would be better if we went to Barcelona.
Yeah.
It was a debatable decision because I think the staff kind of prioritized the bouldering and lead athletes versus the speed ones because the speed climbing training setup wasn't great there. But we went to Barcelona, get away from the village, get away from all that like Olympics kind of hype and being in that village
and
for
just
that long,
focus,
and just focus on training and kind of relaxing. Plus the staff get a beach vacation while the athletes are trying to train for the Olympics.
Now we know why they chose
Yeah,
it.
wonder
They're
why
like,
they
the restaurants are.
prioritize
I mean, the
Barcelona.
training facilities are great.
The message that the one of the organizers for USA Climbing said was, "We will take this time to relax and chill on the beach." Was his exact words, and I was like,
well, at
"You
least
will
he's
be-
not hiding it.
Not the pre-Olympic strategy, I would have guessed.
you will be relaxing and chilling on the beach. We will be training for the Olympics."
Yeah, right.
But it was really fun. We got to hang out as a team and got closer to all the other athletes. So
What, like, I want to obviously talk mostly about like this Olympic experience. Were there moments, you know, you had the selfies, you're training in Barcelona, and unfortunately missed out on, you know, going to all these other events. But like, what were moments that happened that you're just, oh my gosh, I'm at the Olympics? Like what were the things that were happening that set in for you, and were there starstruck moments? Like, well, I want to hear about when you were like, holy cow, this is real.
yeah, so I think the opening ceremony was the
On the
big
boat.
one with the boat because you get to be in Paris.
Yeah.
And it's like you get to be a part of this thing that, one, a lot of people are paying a lot of money to get worse seats for.
Right.
Like along the river, all these tickets are people paying thousands of dollars to see it.
Right.
But you're
And
actually
there's you
in
and
the
LeBron
boat.
just
Yeah, yeah,
waving
yeah.
the flag.
So funny story, actually, I actually ran to be the flag bearer as well. Like I got, I made a video in like a case. I'm like, hey, I'm the world record holder for speed climbing. It was right after I had a really good season. I just won the event in Chamonix.
Yeah.
And I'd won back-to-back World Cups at the time. And I was just like saying, hey, it'd be a really good case for sport climbing. We have an amazing community. We're really growing really hard in the U.S.
You had to run for this.
Yeah, it's a like video process, and there's various delegates, typically former
And
Olympians.
somehow they
staff kind
landed
of
on
thing, right?
LeBron. That's some bull.
And so what happened was I get this message because you just submit your video. You're anonymous.
Right.
You don't know who you're running against, right? I get this video say you made the top 3 round in the second round of voting. I was like, oh my god, I might
Come
actually
on,
beat this, right?
Come on.
And so I get this news. It's like LeBron James has won the flag bearership, and I was like, I had no chance. I'm happy. I made it to the second round. I got
Yeah.
top 3, I guess. But
Right.
I think LeBron. I would not vote for me over
Podium
LeBron
with
personally.
LeBron too. At
Yeah,
the
that-
Olympics.
I
That-
personally
that's a good
voted for LeBron and not myself. So
Yeah. No, I don't get a vote.
Yeah.
It's only the other delegates. So I was just like, I wonder like if I could actually win this, and it was like LeBron James has won the
That's a rough
flag bearership.
competition, man.
Yeah, it was unfortunate.
okay, so on the boat, opening ceremonies was kind
Yeah.
of a wow moment. Were there any others, like running into other athletes, celebrities? Kenneth, bringing
Yeah.
him back. He said like Snoop Dogg like popped into their training one time and like
Oh, wow.
ran a 200 meter and pulled his hamstring. He said that was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
But like
Sounds about
what
right.
like I don't know. There had to be a couple other moments. Like
So
tell
I
me
was-
one or two other ones.
I was in line for the opening ceremony, and you have all these U.S. athletes together, right? And USA Basketball was at the front, right? So I was
Yeah.
like, I want to meet some of the basketball players, right?
Sure.
So I walked up, and it was like I think it was Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, right?
Yeah.
And I walk up, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna like just try to get a photo. So I was like, I'm gonna get a photo with Anthony Edwards, and I was like, hey, Ant, can I get a photo with you? And it was next to Kevin Durant. And he was like, you don't want a photo with him? And I was like, oh shoot, I know like Anthony, like Kevin Durant's favorite
Bro.
player. And this guy goes, Kevin Durant's like, oh, I'll take the photo for you. I'm like, no way. Kevin
Wow.
Durant is taking a photo
That's
for me right
dope.
now. That is
That's so awesome.
crazy.
And then you didn't
And-
even ask him for one. You're
Yeah.
like,
Go
oh
with
yeah,
just,
we're
like, the
good.
tops of his
Yeah, it was
right.
it was crazy because I was just like, I have this photo that I know is like
Right.
only my mind is
Right.
taken by Kevin Durant.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I'm like, that's crazy. But
That
they
is
were
crazy.
they were quite chill. And then I asked him, I was like, all right, I was like, be real with me, gold medal match, right? Against France, Rudy Gobert is right on the thing.
So you were already
still
calling
throwing
it,
the down.
yeah.
He's like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love Anthony Edwards.
It would have been
He's
interesting
unreal.
for you. Where my mind goes, just because like there was a big, following all these things on social media about him like building this friendship with the ping pong team. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah,
he was like
yeah.
on a train
With
or
Ant?
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with
Ant was like with the women's ping pong team
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from
Well, that
the
makes more
U.S.
sense.
And yeah, right. No, but like, and he's got some really famous, interview clips where they're asking like, could you be pro in this? Could you be pro in this? Could
Yeah,
you be
yeah,
pro?
yeah,
And
he
he's just
does.
like,
He's
yes,
like, yeah.
done. Yeah, like the guy just exudes confidence like
Yeah, for
nobody
sure.
you've ever met. And I've been around him because I did a summer with Team USA, and like, it doesn't matter what it, like you could be chewing gum and he's like, I bet I can chew faster than you. Like he wants to beat
And you
everybody
think he's
at
fully
everything.
actually bought into that.
And he's
like,
fully bought into it.
not
So
just
I
saying-
would have loved for you to be like, hey, I'm speed climbing. Are you beating me? Because he's gonna go yes,
Yeah, dude, I would have.
even though he's not built right. He's
did
like,
that-
yeah, I'm winning.
I talked to Noah Lyles about it, and I gave
Yeah.
him my spiel about me being the fastest Olympian, and he goes, "I'd hate to put you on a track." And I was just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I'd hate to put you on a climbing wall. It's
Yeah,
like,
I'm just saying,
what
like-
kind of
Yeah, I
argument
think
is
he'd
this?
win.
Combined
Yeah.
wise, like,
Congrats.
I think if you combine the times of the time that he would run in speed climbing and the time that I would run in 100 meter, I'd definitely win. Like the
I like
for
that.
sure.
For
I
sure.
think,
Like-
yeah.
No, he's not even going to be close because like
That would be a
running,
really
you run,
interesting
you
thing
know how to
do.
run.
not really, but
But like you have run in your life.
yeah,
He's
like,
never climbed. Like,
yeah, like I would say
50 feet.
the difference between an amateur runner and a professional runner, like time wise, versus an amateur climber
Yeah,
and me.
Not even close.
Yeah.
I would say like I'd actually be really impressed if someone who's never climbed before could get to the top of the speed wall.
Yeah.
Which I mean, maybe could happen.
I
if
mean,
you
it
I
would be
really
like a
slowly.
rare exception, but most. I mean, it's not just
If you're quite-
fast. It's also a hard route.
It's like hard relative to like a beginner climber.
Yeah.
Not anywhere near like.
What
the
would you
top
What would you
level.
rate it like on a sport climbing? You know.
I think it's like 10C.
Okay.
Maybe, like,
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah, that's.
something
I
like
mean,
that.
a lot of people even.
I would like
Yeah,
to
beginner
try.
climber.
If
We
you're-
should set it up.
I think if you've climbed
Yeah.
a little, you could get up it. It's just not.
Hit
No,
me
but
up, like-
10C is hard for me.
like, text me, I'll
I'm
take you to
just
the gym,
so I'm
like-
so heavy that when I've sport climbed, like
Mhm.
I mean, I can get to the top, but like I can do it once, and I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
one
yeah,
shot
it's
at it,
hard.
and
It's
it's
hard.
like my forearms are just so tired. Like I'm not strong where you need to be strong for like
Yeah.
my body build and size. And it's also funny because we were talking about this before. Like I love watching my wife climb, and I get why she loves it so much. She does bouldering. I told you
Mhm.
before, like because it's like she's solving a puzzle physically, and I totally
of
get
course.
that. She's so locked in on it, and it was really good for me to go climbing. We went this last summer. We did sport climbing, and I'm like getting so mad because I'm not getting it in like one shot, you know. And then like
Yeah.
I never do this. I'm not built for this. And I'm like,
People that
and she's
golf
like,
never and
Yeah,
just shank
right.
every shot. Like, dude, what's wrong
Yeah.
with me? I'm like,
And my wife
"You
is
don't
like-
do it.
like Eric, like you can take breaks, like
Yeah.
just lean on the rope and like figure out your next move. And I'm like, no, I need to do this in one shot. It's
Basically,
it's
yeah.
so different, you know.
I think you have that professional athlete's mentality,
Yeah.
like where it's really hard. I find personally to enjoy doing things recreationally,
Yeah.
where you're just
100%.
like doing another sport or like trying even things like if you go skiing or go like wakeboarding or something like that, and you're just like struggling. It's just like such a not fun time. I
Yeah.
can see it in
You
your face.
just-
You're just like
You hold
like-
yourself
No,
to
just
a
get- yeah.
professional athlete level of
Yeah.
You've
whatever.
been, you know,
Yeah.
like a D1 athlete, professional athlete, where you're like, you know, you've been the top of the top, where you've had to go through all these barriers to get to the levels you are, and you're used to doing that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'm not used to sucking at
Just
wakeboarding.
this
or something like
absolute
that, you know what I mean?
reset.
100%.
Yeah.
And that has literally happened for me with
With
wakeboarding
climbing.
and
Yeah.
no, and climbing and
Hey,
basically,
how about
basically
this?
everything
How about
outside of
this? Hey,
basketball.
hey, I will go to Momentum or wherever. I'll challenge you to the speed climb.
Yeah.
I think I could beat you.
No shot, dude.
Yeah. I'm just I mean that's
he has the Anthony Edwards mentality.
that's right.
I'm sure you think you can, but
Yeah,
I just know
you're a
you
good
won't.
athlete too, but
Okay.
well I guess there's only one
Yeah.
way to find out. He can
We'll-
judge.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay.
The timer can judge. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not my
Yeah.
thing. It's whoever can do it faster.
Yeah, nice try. Try to get him on your side.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help.
Yeah. Dang, he's too good.
It's not about
Well,
technique, I mean,
okay,
it's just like-
Olympics, incredible, set a world record, won a bronze medal. One more moment that I want to press you on, and then I want to move on to the next thing. Standing there on the podium, getting a medal, like that had to be a pretty cool moment.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
what did that feel like?
I think the process of getting there was definitely a lot of emotions because when I lost the semifinal race, it was just like, man, I just lost the most important race of my life, at least for a little while.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, okay, now I have in 5 minutes the second most important race.
Right.
To win a bronze medal.
So it's
and
that quick. It's 5 minutes.
5 minutes is the mandatory rest time.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, I don't want to get fourth at the Olympics.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like,
Worst thing to
the-
do at the Olympics.
I
is
mean,
fourth.
the life difference between being an Olympic medalist and not being an Olympic medalist is pretty big,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
And I had the mentality that I approached the Olympics with, especially at my age, was I think when I started taking it seriously as I wanted to qualify was, I mean, I'm just going to put my best effort forward and it might not line up, right? I think I didn't really have the confidence of being the fastest in the world until 4 months before the actual games.
Right.
So my entire mentality was I'm going to try to do my best possible training. I'm going to just put in every single day, like not clocking out. Like I'm just going all the way that I possibly can. And that's just going to manifest as maybe of getting on the podium or potentially winning this event. But I knew from the get, like I hold the world record by 0.01 seconds, right? The margin of
That is,
there
that
is-
is insane, dude.
there is a lot like of
That'll be tough to beat, but I'll do it.
really good
Yep.
of really good athletes who are professionals
Yeah.
in the sport. And Patrick Leonardo, who won gold, he had won the last 2 World Cup series. He had held the world record for probably about 2 years combined
Yeah.
before I broke it and before I won this year's World Cup series. And so like he had been the best athlete in the world basically by a long shot for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I think he's 27 years old.
Right.
And I was like, okay, you know, I have a chance to kind of get into that level, but I'm really not like nothing is a guarantee, right?
Right.
I'm just gonna put my best effort forward. So I really wasn't like, I feel like that process just sort of executed.
Yeah.
After I won that race, I wasn't trying to break the world record. I was just like, if I have a really good run, you know, I'm in great shape, like periodization wise of my strength and conditioning, all that. Like I've done really well. I feel really good today. And so that's just kind of happened. I think so. I broke it in the qualifier round. Vidric, I had 4.79, and he tied it. He also got 4.79, and then I broke it. I didn't know that actually.
What happens in a tie?
I guess you just both hold it.
Yeah.
To the hundredth of a second. But
Okay.
about 16 minutes later, I broke it again in the qualification elimination round, which is like to get to the finals.
Yeah.
And I got 4.75. And then so the bronze medal match is before.
So you actually broke
yeah.
the world record twice,
I've broken it 4 times now.
but
Yeah.
in general, wait,
And
at this Olympics?
At the Olympics,
4 times.
I had 2 times, and then
Yeah.
2 times
Wow.
earlier this season.
Yeah.
And then so I had 4.75, and so the bronze medal match is before the gold medal match. So it was him and Peng Wu, a Chinese athlete. And so I ran 4.74 in the bronze medal match, and then watched the gold medal match where he ran 4.75.
Oh, dude.
So I would have had it tied again, but now I
Yeah.
officially hold it. I officially have the fastest climber in the world title, the fastest Olympian title. It is all mine by 0.01 seconds.
That's crazy.
Hell
so,
yeah.
0.01.
That
It's
is-
gone.
That is.
like
Blink an eye.
Not even. You can't even react that fast. Of,
Yeah.
like,
So you
to
get to
anything.
the top. I mean, you realize you won bronze. Did it hit you right then? You're like, dude, this is happening. Or did it take a second?
Because
to
that's a
kick
quick
in?
bounce. I mean, it's 5 minutes
It's
from,
a
like
lot
you
of
said, like a
emotions between,
super disappointing
like you sort of
moment.
feel like, you know, I don't know, like if you felt any big losses of like a playoff game, something like that, we're like, no, this is reality now. Like I lost.
It's
I'm
a
no
gut
longer,
punch.
Yeah.
you know, you've been, you know, sort of visualizing and like sort of dreaming about the future of this, like, you know, the rest of the series or something like that. But it's over now. Like the reality is that this happened, isn't kind of sets in. And then you have to really bounce back. And then again, you have that positive sense of, oh, wow, I'm an Olympic medalist.
Yeah.
That will never go away.
Right.
So that was just a crazy thought of the emotional processing, because you really like, I'm sure because you talked to Kenneth, who I believe won silver in
Yeah.
steeplechase. Yeah. I think because that's a race for him. You know, you're in
Right.
this final and you're competing. But for me, it was like I essentially lost a medal and then had to win it again.
Yeah.
Because I would have
Yeah.
won gold or silver if I advanced.
Yeah.
But then, so I lost the title of Olympic medalist, and now I've won it back essentially.
Right. That peak, that valley, then back to a peak. like,
Exactly. And then
in
so you
in a
have that
matter of a
Back
second.
thing. And then
It's
so
pretty nuts.
I was actually racing like a long-time legend of climbing. His name was Reza Alipour from Iran, and so he held the world record before Vidric and then before me for about 5 years. And so I shook his hand. I like gave him a little bow as well, because I mean that's just such a
Yeah,
a
I remember you
childhood,
posting about that. Yeah.
childhood hero essentially. I think he's like 30 now, but he's won probably like 6 or 7 World Cups at this point.
Wow.
And so it's like he's been a long
Did you
time.
go head to head with him?
Yeah, so that was for the bronze medal.
Yeah.
And I
Okay,
won that
it was
race.
him.
And I think-
Was that just kind of crazy?
I think he actually ran a PR, like the fastest time he's ever run, of
Wow.
being for his long career. He ran the fastest time he's ever run against me in the bronze medal match, and then I also I mean,
lost.
It would have
So
won
it
any
was
other
his
race.
PR and
Right.
lost.
It would have won any other
Wow.
race essentially, except that I ran a world record to win.
Which to him
race.
probably speaks to how much better the sport is getting.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Oh, yeah.
and,
I mean,
and how much bigger it is. And it's kind of cool as you were talking and circling back to like when we were talking about like, oh, this Jamaican kid that's built different
Yeah.
coming into the sport. Like it will be interesting because you're at you still are early on, not as early as him, but like as more and more people come with popularity, like it's gonna push you to just be better and better and better. And like
Yeah,
you're already a legend, I'd imagine, in the sport, but you're only 18, so you're going to be in it for a while. So you're going to have a chance to just keep repeating and
Yeah,
repeating
I-
as more and more people come in
I hope,
with
and then
popularity, which is pretty
essentially
cool.
also, I mean, another factor is that I really can't control is, do we get more medals of things
Right.
I can compete in? So
Right.
if there's say another discipline like what I said, like a relay,
Yeah,
like if I can retire as an Olympian with 10 medals versus with 4,
Yeah.
if I win a medal at every Olympics,
yeah. 4, you
So-
just be just a normal dude.
like
Let's get you 10.
I did
I'm
that.
just
That's my
kidding.
thought of like, I really can't control that. And
No,
there's-
yeah,
it's
of
a big
course.
quantifiable difference to anyone else. But I mean,
Right.
realistically, I'm training the same way almost, and I'm getting a different amount of medals
Yeah.
or a different amount of opportunities for medals.
Yeah.
What is it like now that you aren't there? It's happened. You're still obviously training. You're still competing, but you're now a student. You're
Yeah.
a freshman in college. Is that kind of weird? I told this to Kenneth too. I'm like, if I had a medal from the Olympics, I'd never go to class. I'd just be walking around.
Is he a freshman
walk
as
in.
well?
No, he's
Show
a
it.
senior.
Oh, he's a senior.
He's a senior, which for sure I wouldn't be going to class if I was a senior.
I didn't have shit and I was skipping.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I didn't even make it to my senior year.
I dropped out.
Yeah, we
No
both
medals.
did.
No medals.
No medals,
What are we
dropouts.
doing?
No medals, talk about.
He's
So-
like, you guys are morons.
I think for this first semester, I actually was like, I'm basically gonna take a gap semester. So I'm
Okay.
just taking online classes and like just part-time student. So I'm not like really like in class every day.
Right.
Essentially, I think I kind of decided that there was so much stuff that I potentially could do and like doors I could unlock after the Olympics.
Yeah.
Plus, I also had more of a season to finish.
Right.
So I just finished the official World Cup season in October, and I won the series. So like, that was my kind of big also goal besides the Olympics
Right.
was to get
Congrats.
that done. Thank you. But so I had a lot more to do and a lot more to travel and all that. So I was like, I really can't be going to class.
Right.
And then I think with my philosophy around going to school as well is when I brought up, I'm competing against professionals who, for Indonesia, they live in a facility. They
Yeah.
have like all their meals
It's their
provided.
job.
Every
It's their
second
full
of
It's
yeah.
their job.
Yeah.
It's like, they're professionals who make a living off of this. They have either government support or endorsements or anything like that. And then same thing with China, where they have these massive facilities and tons of government investment
Yeah.
and all that. Like, I do not, like when I go back to the 100th of a second thing, I do not have the margin to be also a good student,
Right.
essentially. So my current goal is like whether at the U or otherwise, complete a degree
Sure.
through my climbing career.
Yep.
I fortunately have like the immense privilege that through my climbing, I don't need to essentially get a job because I
Right.
can have this as my job,
Yeah.
where I am not, necessarily want to get an entry level.
You don't
position
have to
out
worry
of
about
college.
school, work, and climbing.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
right
I would
now
just
do
want
climbing,
and
some
then
school.
part-time school, and then
Yeah.
eventually graduate when I want to transition
Sure.
afterward, and I can just have a degree. And an issue that I'm kind of dealing with is I'm not treated as a D1 athlete.
Mm.
So like with some schools where they have that standard of you want to compete, like
Interesting.
for Olympians and all that, you're given so much resources.
Yeah.
As their
Like a
athlete,
nutrition
where
center, like a
nutrition
weight
center, or
room,
like-
yeah.
Yeah. You have on campus all these facilities
Tutors.
and all that. Yeah, tutors, like even schools like Notre Dame are
Yeah.
really, really big on, they want their athletes to do well academically. And like my school, I mean, to no fault of them, I'm just a regular student to them
Right.
essentially.
Right.
I am not like,
It's not a school sponsored sport.
I'm not competing for my school.
Right.
So it's a very different dynamic as far as the
A little sponsorship, throw a little U on
Yeah.
the
Special.
on the shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, I reached out, or my agent did, and I just said like, hey, will you let me use your facilities and I'll like promote you like full time as your.
I
like,
know
sort
the
of-
student body president. We should actually hit him up
Yeah.
and see, because that'd be sick.
That'd be awesome.
Like we'll say like, I mean, even then, if like I can go to their facilities and like
They have
you know,
climbing
go-
facilities, or you're just saying like the weights and
Like
all
yeah,
that?
even just like the
other
weights,
stuff.
I would love to do that, like the track and field kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if that's something like where I can have a more.
I'll tell you what,
kind
dude. If I'm in charge of that, dude, I'm doing whatever the freaking Olympic medalist is.
No, that's a
asking
great
for.
point.
No,
That's a
because
great
I'm saying
point.
like for most schools, I'm sure like, as like for BYU, like it's a two-way relationship essentially.
Yeah.
Where you're providing them
100%.
also because you were pre-NIL, I assume.
Yep.
It's like
Unfortunately, yes.
you're providing them both monetarily a lot of
Yeah.
support, and the school is getting
Oh, the
your
publicity would be
publicity
insane.
and all that as their student supporting high-level athletes.
Yeah.
And like I think for me, I would kind of just want more of that two-way relationship with whatever institution I'm at. But as far as just getting a degree, like I'm moving towards it. I do like going to campus and
Yeah.
meeting people and
What
socially and all that.
What is your degree?
So I'm studying in operational supply chain management.
Okay.
I've always just had kind of a passion as a person of how does the world work, and I think that's been kind of interesting to me. And it's a subset of a business degree, so it's
Yeah,
pretty
and with
versatile.
I mean, outside of climbing, the rest of your life with the connections and the travel, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I would love to work in sport. I would love to have a job that's like the head of a federation or like working in sports management or something like that. I think I've had a like kind of a knack for it as a growing sport of talking and like figuring out with different people like what's the best way to grow the sport, and like from a business perspective, how does this work and how do these events work and how does like the Olympics work, and even studying things like looking into like the new NBA, CBA, stuff like
Yeah.
that, like kind of interest me. So I'd love to do that post Olympics career.
Yeah.
What going back, you touched on NIL, and then you've touched on kind of being not as tied to the facilities to the university, so it's a different experience as a professional athlete.
Mhm.
I mean, what has your experience been with sponsorship, with name, image, and likeness, and how much change has there been since the Olympics? Because I know you've done a lot of traveling for sponsorships. Recently, you signed a deal, I think, with Kodiak Cakes,
Mhm.
right? So, I mean, has that just given you an influx that you feel like, all right, I'm at least to safety. I feel pretty good. Like I can live as a pro climber and focus on this and just continue to build that out. Like what has that experience been? Because you don't get the school endorsement like we mentioned because you're not representing the U. You're a pro athlete. So what is that process like for sponsorship and finding dollars to just support this? I mean, because it's a crazy dream you're chasing, right?
Yeah, essentially, like, once you kind of reach the level, and I think kind of after this season, maybe even a little bit pre-Olympics, I reached the level of, like, you always just have a goal of, like, you love something so much, and you don't really have that, like, level of, like, wanting kind of stuff. Like, I think for a lot of people, like, you have kids, correct?
Yeah.
Like, wanting to support others is definitely very different than just, like, I love purely only climbing right now. So, like, right now I'm 18 years old, like, with the money I currently can make, I'm like, all right, I can live on my own. I can support myself. I can go and climb and travel wherever I want. And this is awesome, right?
Right.
I'm not particularly like upset that I'm not getting the level of money as an athlete in another sport. That's
Cam Rising,
yeah.
you guys' quarterback.
Yeah, as a 7th-year minor league.
$1 million deals to play 2 quarters. Yeah.
I mean, like, stuff like that. It's like, I really don't mind. Like, I really do. There's a lot of intangible value of, besides beyond just financial, of being an athlete. Like, I love the idea that I can walk into a stadium and then sort of do my thing and 6,000 people pull out their phones and want to video me.
Yeah.
Like, that's a way cooler, like, you can't be an investment banker and 6,000 people want to watch you investment bank, right? So
unless you're really
good at, or you're committing a crime.
Yeah, right there you
which
go.
I'm sure would want to watch.
And then they're pulling out their phones for a different reason.
You know,
checking
so,
Twitter.
Like all of those things, like, I think there's so much intangible value, and the people and the connections you make, just from a relationship standpoint, are way more important
irreplaceable
than currently money. I think I do eventually want to have kids and a family, and I think my life priority will definitely shift as far as wanting to support them and give your kids the best financial setup you can. But for right now, I love the fact that I can support myself, and that's kind of all I need.
It's a great setup.
No, but if you're a sponsor, absolutely, I'm still,
I was just
I'm
gonna
still
ask.
negotiating to the max.
Yeah,
I'm not like
what's
So I don't want anyone's money is the point.
No, like, you know,
what's the dream, or what are a couple sponsors you'd be so stoked on?
I want a Red Bull sponsorship so badly.
Oh, that'd be
I
so
think
cool. They just do
I'm
everything
the
so
perfect
cool.
fit for them.
Okay.
I'm
I know some
trying.
Red Bull people.
I'm trying my best to get them to sponsor me, but definitely slow momentum on that. But, you know, Red Bull.
I don't know why they wouldn't. That's crazy.
I know.
They sponsor a lot of climbers.
Yeah.
Fits right into
Some
the
of which
niche.
are arguably, you know, not my.
Well,
not
there's
beside.
only one that has the world record.
There's only
unless
one
I'm
world record.
mistaken.
There's actually
I
two.
can't
It's women's. But,
remember who it is.
But Red Bull, if you're listening, I think I'm the perfect fit for you as well, as far as that. And then I would love Omega. They sponsor a lot of Olympic athletes. I think
Omega's sweet.
I'd be a great fit for them.
That's a good one. Too.
Probably only for, like, I think that one would be really only attainable next time I'm in the Olympics. But
Yeah, but think how easy that is, though. They're just like the master of time.
When time
they're the speed, like
Yeah,
the
when
speed
time
masters.
matters,
Like,
the speed
don't you want to
master.
sponsor the fastest Olympian
Oh,
speed climber when your
100%.
watch is called the Speed
I
Master?
feel like that
Like,
came
100%.
to
What are we
mind
talking
because I
about?
feel like there are track and field or swimmers or
No,
both
there's a lot
whose
of 'em,
commercials
'cause
I
they're the
saw,
official-
and that's like what they talk.
they're the
It's like
official timekeeper.
Tissot with
Tissot,
the
yeah.
NBA. It's
No,
like
I had at the Olympics. I talked to one of the organizers who I had known because he's also the climbing person, and I was like, "Hey man, if I set a new world record at the Olympics, I want you to set up a board and let me do the Usain Bolt pose." I was like, "Let me do that."
Yeah.
And the first day, I was like, "Did you do it?" And he's like, "No, I couldn't get it in time." And so after the finals, he walks up to me and is like, "Sam, I got you your photo." I'm like, "No way, you got me that photo."
that's awesome.
And so it has this photo. I
We'll
have
have to find it.
a couple different ones. I have one of me pointing at it and one of me doing the Usain Bolt pose, like the leaning. And it's with the Omega official timekeeper, 4.74, Sam Watson, new world record.
That's pretty
And
cool.
so, like, Omega, like, give me
Omega,
me a
where
give
give
are
me
me
the
we?
bag. Like, I'm
Omega.
saying, like,
Give me a
call.
watch.
like,
Hit the DMs, Omega.
Give one to me and Josh too.
yeah, dude,
Why not?
all my friends. So, as
All my
far
best
as-
friends.
as
Say
far
best
as-
friend.
Say best friend. Okay, best friend. All my best friends. But I think I have also the intangible goal of, at some Olympics, at some point in my career, I want to go to the airport and see myself in a advertisement. Like, I think for Mondo Duplantis, the pole vaulter, he had that, like, with Omega and a couple
Okay.
other, like, designer brands and
Yeah.
duty
Yeah.
free.
It's pretty
I
cool.
want to get to that status.
Yeah.
I want to get to before the Olympics, right? When it's your time and when you're in the spotlight, you get to be in the airport and you can see yourself.
Yeah,
like,
and
That's
the
pretty cool.
intimidation factor.
Yeah.
Everyone
I
else
think,
comes in.
Your
sees it.
competition's like
a couple of the other
Sam's
ones, I
here
think,
again.
with Delta, like one of my teammates broke up too, who won silver in Boulder. and
Climb.
League.
in comfort and speed.
They said
Delta.
their motto is keep climbing, bro. I need the Delta sponsorship. Like
You've been
They-
thinking about this. No, but like that's
you just see it in
that's
everyday
an
life.
important piece
you
of
see
this.
it in everyday
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
of like, I feel like I'd be such a good fit for you. And the marketing team was like, no.
And like I say that because I'm a true believer of like you put it out there in the universe, like, and you can go get it, and you are absolutely in a position to do it. So I think that's awesome. Like those are not unattainable goals. Absolutely.
yeah, no,
right, to go
I
get-
think
a
so.
lot of
to
those
go
make
get those
more
guys.
sense happening than not. You know?
Yeah,
I totally agree.
I would agree. And then again, but I still do have the mentality of, I'm not trying to support kids and put food on the table or do something like that, and I
Right.
can live the life I want to. So I'm not necessarily like beating myself over the fact that I don't have a certain number of income from these
Right.
different sponsors.
Right.
Yeah,
Like I
That's pretty
really,
cool.
it would be cool, but I definitely have the luxury of patience and the privilege of
Yeah.
kind of being able to wait for those things to come along.
That's
Yeah.
great. All right, well, we're going to jump into, I said we were going to do rapid fire at the beginning. We normally do, but we just blew right past it. So we're going to do them at the end. I'm going to give you like a minute for each of these because some of
Okay.
these, there's some back and forth. There's some arguing. Josh will
Alright.
probably have some dumb
Alright.
input. So you have to go really
Definitely.
quick. This is a question I didn't get into that I wanted to, that I'm just going to move to rapid fire that I'm interested to know. You're a chef. You like cooking.
A little bit, yeah.
You've been all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Best cuisine, worst cuisine.
Worst is a hard one to do because of a lot of different places and a lot of people doing it well. I absolutely love a dish, the national dish of Indonesia, nasi goreng, and nasi goreng dengan bebek, which is fried rice with duck. I love that dish. It's hit almost every single time I've gotten it. I trying to
Don't
think.
say worst. Say like, I don't know, most bizarre like taste or flavor. Because
You
there
know-
are things that like you
alright.
can't say it's the worst
This is
because
a
it's
little
what
bit
they eat.
of a diss to the audience, but I went to the Philippines recently and I had hala hala, which is like a dessert, but it has like beans in it,
Mm.
and I really didn't love that.
It's not desserty.
And I also might have
for
had an
us.
allergic reaction because like my neck swelled a little bit. So I'm gonna say that's the worst
It's
I've
like
had.
the-
That's a good answer. It's not that bad. He's just allergic. For him,
I
it's
was
the
just
worst.
like, I wasn't
like
like
the Will Smith
I-
switch
it was
or
just- it
Hitch
was just-
movie.
It was just a little bit of like, kind of like a little
Yeah, yeah.
concerning kind of itchiness around my
Yeah.
neck. And I was like, ooh, am I
And
dying?
I always try to stay away from those kind of desserts that make me physically respond.
Yeah, I
Really-
just try and
Yeah.
stay away from bean desserts in general. No offense to
yeah,
those.
not-
bean-
let's be
the,
clear,
the beans is
yams,
a weird
it's
taste.
similar to no.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was not a big fan of that.
Okay.
but-
All right. Would you rather fight one shack-sized chicken or 50 chicken-sized shacks? You have a minute to
And
answer.
why?
Yeah. He
He's
likes
like,
he
"Dude,
likes this one.
I've been rehearsing this in my mind.
He's like,
All
it's
right,
funny
yeah.
enough. I've been thinking
I
about
have
this.
the answer here.
Definitive.
I'm taking the chicken size stack because 50 is a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they're
That's
this
what I've said.
small, dude. 50, you just be
But it's
kicking those
Shaq.
guys.
Shaq is
It's-
strong.
Shaq
He's
is
called Diesel
big.
for a reason.
Yeah,
And,
Shaq is
he's
not like-
motivated.
and it would be dense too.
He wants you
It
to
would be dense.
It's just
He's already
chicken.
dense.
Like chickens are dumb. It's just Shaq size, and Shaq isn't even like
But it's a okay. That's
the
true.
total mass of 50 chicken size Shaq. It's
Say
a
that 10 times
mouthful.
fast.
It's
Yeah.
a mouthful, but the total mass of 50 chicken size Shacks are so
Chicken size Shaq.
Say that 5 times.
it's so much bigger than one Shack size chicken.
Okay, well, what do you do? game.
I'm just going out. I'm probably gonna lose both times.
He climbs
but-
them.
Yeah, I'm gonna climb it.
You
and
just
then
scurry up
like
'em.
maybe
Choke
try to
it
get in the
out.
headlock.
Choke 'em
Yeah.
out, yeah. It's a dumb. It's a big
Hell of a
dumb
barbecue.
chicken. Just
Yeah.
one of them though.
You get it in the face, like I'm going for
you
that.
do like
yeah.
a luau, but it's just it's a huge chicken instead of.
He's
a
on my
pig.
side. You got this. Are you
Yeah.
taking? this? Are you-
I flip flop depending on the guest. Like I'm so easily convinced because
I
it's
feel
just
like
such a ridiculous.
I feel like I could be kicking Shacks, little kicking chicken
Kicking
Shacks.
chicken Shacks.
Bailey
Right.
doesn't believe it. She's not convinced. That
I'm
50
just-
kicks. You were out of shape. You were
Yeah,
out
but
of
my-
breath
my
walking up the
kicking, though,
stairs
my
to the
kicking, though,
studio.
I'll kick a chicken Shack.
That's
like
like-
you can't believe.
The steps you came up, there's probably 20 steps. That's 20 steps, and you're out of breath. You're
Yeah,
not
we're at
getting to
altitude,
50.
though.
you're
I
gonna be
live here.
you're gonna be at altitude then too. Okay,
At
that's
sea
over
level.
a minute.
At sea level.
Okay,
Well, obviously this is all at sea level.
What's your go-to guilty pleasure song that no one knows you listen to, and now they will?
Song is an interesting one. I actually don't think I have that much guilty pleasure music.
Hmm.
Like music wise, I like just like music that's especially when climbing, like house music and stuff like that,
Okay.
where it's very just like sort of without words
Rhythmic.
and very like rhythmic.
Yeah.
Sometimes I actually maybe guilty pleasure wise, I love like the really hype like Brazilian funk music. You know, like on like TikTok, like those kind of
Yeah,
songs.
all the background
So-
songs.
sometimes like
those
I'll go down the rabbit hole of like listening to playlists like that. I like actually really like them, like
Yeah.
as music. Like you
If
kind
you-
of get into
If
them.
you could have one song, you know, baseball they have the walkout song. If they had that for climbing, it's like
Yeah,
it's
you
you're
walk
coming
out,
up, you're coming, or like before an MMA fight, like the one fighter comes out, he's got his posse with him, the music going, and then the
Your
next guy
hype
comes
song.
out. What's your song? He's like, yeah, just Brazilian house music.
Yeah.
Maybe I like maybe Champion by Kanye West. I like that
That's
song.
a good one. That's a
Yeah,
great
that
one.
is a good one.
You can't go wrong with
You were a
many of his old
champion.
stuff.
Yeah, I like that.
Ooh, what's mine? I don't know, probably like Megan Thee Stallion or something like that,
Yeah, that
Okay.
sounds about right.
or Cardi B.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, mine. There's 100. I don't know what song it would be, but 100% Kanye would be
Okay.
in the
Okay.
very small list,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe J. Cole. It'd be something from one of those two.
DMX all day.
DMX is a great one.
It's just something
You're
DMX.
just barking. You got the
Shout out
dog in
Bobby
you.
Pippin. You know
Yeah.
DMX.
Yeah, Bobby. I don't know who that is. We're gonna take that out. All right, next one. That's over a minute. One rule that you'd change in your sport.
I would love to experiment with double elimination medal rounds. That was a proposal for this Olympics, but it wasn't actually done.
Do you think it'll get pushed for the next one?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Depending on the format, depending on the amount of medals they give, depending on the amount of quota of athletes they give. So a lot of that comes. But yeah, potentially a double elimination format would be really, really cool. That's kind of a proposal I actually made to one of the other organizers, where you've basically a bunch of athletes, they race, then you get 1 point if you're eliminated, and then if you get 2 points, you're out. And so
Yeah.
you just race and race and race and race until you're
Yeah.
the final two.
That's pretty
And
cool.
then that could be really hype, I think.
Yeah, I mean, what's cool is like, you're like, I'm talking to the people making these decisions. Like,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
in that place of
I
influence,
can
and it's
propose
also
it.
early enough in the sport
I don't
that
know.
like
I
you
don't
can
know
have an impact on
how.
it.
I don't know how influential I am, but maybe.
I mean, you have to be like
Yeah.
like the very best sports, and it seems like they're growing at a rapid enough rate that they are, a good enough sport that wants to be popular and has, a growing demand. They're gonna listen to their athletes.
And I think too, like the position he's in. I mean, you're 18. You're
You're gonna be around.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's that next generation. Makes sense.
What would you change about basketball? 4-point line?
I don't mind the 4-point line.
You don't mind or 4-point spots? Whatever.
So, the G League has toyed for multiple years now with one free throw counts for 2 points because they want to speed it up. Hated that
Okay.
because if you miss, it just sucks missing one, and you're like, okay, there
Yeah.
goes 2 points, and it's like usually if I'm an okay free throw shooter, if I miss the first one, I'm usually making the second one, so it
Yeah.
just sucks like missing out on that 50%. So I didn't like that. I don't mind the 4-point line. I like watching, the big three does that.
Yeah.
So two things that I do like experimenting with is the Elam ending, which is the TBT started doing that, the summer basketball tournament,
Okay.
and they do that in the G League where there's a
The-
target score.
Yeah.
So you get to
score.
the
Oh,
fourth
You do
quarter
like
and
it?
you add 15
I
to
didn't like
or
it.
whatever it
Yeah.
was. I like it.
Are they doing in the G League the heave rule, where if you throw
They
a
are.
heave at the very end,
Yeah.
it doesn't count against
I like that.
your field goal
So I like
percentage?
that.
I like that
and,
too.
And what
That totally
I
makes
don't
sense.
love the
Yeah.
Elam ending, but what the G League has done is overtime is you just play to 7. So I do like that. And I kind of wish some of the FIBA rules, like international basketball,
3
like
seconds.
I kind of want us to have no more defensive 3 seconds.
Defensive
Like,
3
let's
seconds.
just get some
for
big
sure
tanks
not,
in the
dude.
middle.
It's just the
What's
If
gonna-
you're
dumbest
gonna if
penalty.
you're gonna
Yeah.
dunk on if you're gonna dunk, someone is there. You're dunking on someone,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Like there's not just this wide open lane and you're scoring 140 points a game. And the goaltending, like I love in Europe, like being able to tip. So when it's still on the rim, you can go up and get it
Oh,
off.
really?
Like and I
Yeah,
thought that was super,
offensive goaltending is.
yeah, I thought that was yeah, and honestly offensive. So I think those would be some pretty fun ones.
What
And I
about
know the NBA is
what about
slowly
the air ball
implementing them.
rule of it's a travel if you throw up a ball and it's an air ball and you catch it in the NBA versus in FIBA if you airball a shot and catch it it's a rebound.
It's an offensive rebound.
Yeah.
Are you sure that's a rule in the NBA?
Or in FIBA. It's
No.
different in
Either
FIBA
way,
than
it feels
NBA.
kind of crazy. That's such a crazy exception thing that you're getting
Yeah,
your own
okay,
rebound
that's
on a
kind of
thing.
true.
But
You're talking about you get your own.
You get your
Oh, I
own
thought you were saying
like,
someone else. I was like, that's the rule I didn't know.
If you throw up a ball and
Yeah.
then catch it when you
Oh,
throw
yeah,
it,
yeah.
it was a travel in the
Yeah,
NBA. Or
right.
I may be wrong, but in
FIBA, if it's a shot, they'll give it. There's some gray area there, but
I mean, they already review if it's a shot or a pass, kind of in it.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's
it's like
true.
feels like it'd be a similar.
here's one too. Is I kind of wish hockey assists were a thing.
hockey
Like the
assist being
boom boom.
recorded.
You're the second assist person.
yeah.
Nowadays with
And
advanced
an
stats,
assist if
they know,
you
though.
get if they make free throws. If they make them
That
both,
for sure.
then that should be
a
an
thing.
assist.
Yeah.
yeah, like
that's
potential-
frustrating.
Yeah, they could maybe. I mean, I'm sure that's not even a rule. It's just advanced stats. Like
They're gonna
breaking
do
it down.
and they're gonna do that
Yeah.
soon enough
Like-
because now the threshold is like a triple double means you're the best.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and so
triple
now
double,
and then it's gonna
like-
be like that's kind of normal. So it's like 20 assists is like you're the best, so they're gonna find ways.
Yeah.
That's what the NBA does. They just
I'm sure,
cater
like-
to points and
Yeah.
stats.
Besides like the fan perception, like is it a common thing in the NBA, like for people to have like incentives if they get triple doubles or specific statistic
No,
kind of things?
I mean there are thresholds in contracts like.
But it's
Then
not
like
like
for-
I don't think it's near like,
Like,
the
yeah,
football.
where
or
you
team
have-
that-
Yeah, I don't know if many of them are stats based because then they're like
Yeah.
they're just gonna try and get theirs.
Stat
But
pad, yeah.
100% there are performance based incentives.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well, Sam, that was awesome. Thank you so much for spending some time educating us on speed climbing. And dude, you got some pretty
Chicken
awesome,
fighting.
yeah, chicken fighting. Most importantly, I mean, you got some pretty incredible stories just at 18, and we're stoked to continue to follow and watch you propel this sport forward.
All right, yeah.
Thanks for
Thank
being
you guys
here.
so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
So this episode is sponsored by our friends over at Rhone. They've got some really, really nice stuff. I love it. You're going to love it. You're going to be able to climb in it. So I just want you
Okay.
to feel that. We got a nice shirt,
Pretty nice.
awesome pair of shorts, and for the fancier nights,
That's
you
sick.
could even climb in
Nice.
that. Like
Look at that.
seriously, it's breathable,
could
it's
climb in that,
stretchy.
yeah.
I'm always climbing in button-ups.
I love climbing in that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. So
that's actually- that's
we're grateful to have them as a sponsor, as a partner, and they truly have really, really good stuff. Let's get you hooked up with some more.
Get 'em.
Yeah.
We
Rhone
need to
could
get that
be-
hookup, yeah.
We could get that going. So thank
Yeah.
you to them, and
Apparel sponsorship, I'll do it.
yeah, we're excited to get this stuff to Sam. So thank you. Shout out to
Cool,
one of
man.
our sponsors. That is Andar Leather Goods. These guys are the best of the best. We're giving one of their bags to each of our first 10 guests here on the Big E Show, and it's been an exciting partnership. I've had one of their bags forever. We bought it as a backpack, turned into a diaper bag, but it just speaks to the versatility of their products. They have bags, backpacks, duffel bags, wallets, phone cases. I mean, anything and everything you can imagine that is leather, and it's the very, very best quality. So make sure you go check them out in my profile. We got a little discount code in there for you. What's up, everybody? Have to give a shout out to our sponsor, Serenoni Blankets. They are the best of the best. We're very excited for this partnership and grateful that they are providing our awesome guests with their amazing blankets. It's starting to get a little bit cold here in Utah where I'm filming, where I'm recording these episodes. And so there's no better time to go check out Serenoni. We're going to have a link in our bio. Make sure you do that because they really are the best of the best.